just a debate, and we've had quite a number of arguments over that debate. But the late Republican President, President Rupia Banda, will be put to rest on Friday, 18th March 2022, and this is according to the acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, and of which he has also announced to say on Thursday there will be a state funeral where we'll see foreign heads of state to come to pay their last respect, and also some high government officials and some invited guests will be there to give their last respects to the former head of state, and of which on Friday at 10 hours we'll have a church service at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross. Thereafter, he'll be buried at the presidential burial site, obviously with some invited guests. So this is the update, and also the funeral has been moved from his Lilai residence to Belvedere Lodge in Kabalonga. That's where this funeral is, and we have seen a number of people in former ruling party members, opposition political parties, and high senior government officials paying to go and pay their condolences to the former First Lady, Madam Tandiwe Banda, and the family of the Banda, of which we so much, very much convey our condolences. Well, we keep on updating you on the state of the affairs of the funeral, even as we are mourning for 7 days. Zambia mourns, and VJ has described this not just as Zambia mourning, but the African continent at large. And one fact that I'll keep reminding you and mentioning to you to say President Rupia Banda is the only African who has been president for 2 countries. Yes, you heard me right. For 2 countries. He was a leader of Namibia in the 1970s, and also he later on became the president of Zambia. So it's quite a huge, huge milestone of which we might never see any other African get these accolades. Well, that's just about President Rupia Banda. All right, and another topic that we're going to have later on is the issue of suicide. We have seen a lot of people committing suicide in recent months, weeks, and years. What could be the problem? Is the mental health really a big issue that is causing people to commit suicide? This is one also of the biggest topic of discussion on our menu this afternoon. Now, this afternoon, allow me to introduce my guests in studio. Let me start with Pastor Ignatius Mulenga, who's not very, very new to you, I'm sure, to the viewers of Muvi TV. Pastor Mulenga, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right, great. And also we have a therapist. Yes, a therapist by the name of Covinus. Yes, Covinus Mwengwe. All right, good to have you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you.
All right. Okay, let me start with you, Pastor. I'm sure you heard in my preamble of how I gave out a highlight of how Zambia is mourning the former head of state. Maybe how could you just highlight in your own words, how would you describe the man?
My condolences to the Rupia family. First and foremost, Mr. Rupia Banda was a jovial man. My boy, actually.
All right.
Yeah, he was a man, he was a loving man, and indeed, he did actually a lot, even for the churches as well. Yeah, he did a lot also for persons with disabilities as well. Yeah, and he did a lot even for a footballer. You know, he was a soccer fan so much.
A huge one.
Yeah, a huge one, actually, yes. He was a man who was down to earth, you know. One time, actually, I met him one time. You know, he was just a man who would want to think that he was actually even a president when he's talking to you, you know. So he was a loving man. Indeed, we really have lost a great leader, a great leader indeed.
All right. So now, with how do you look at, I'd love you to give a comment as well on the perceived differences that existed between the former head of state and the current president, President Hakainde Hichilema. And we seem to see the president forgiving the former head of state, of which many people are not for the idea. Let me not say many people, some people are not for the idea of that. How, with Zambia being a Christian nation, what's your comment? How should the citizens get this news?
Praise God. Indeed, as a Christian, our president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, played a very big role, by actually accepting that let me forgive whatever wrongs which our former president, Mr.
Edgar
Lungu, whatever he did, he played a role to say forgiveness is the best way.
Yes.
The Bible says, do not forgive and forget. Don't hold on to to something. That's why actually the president did, and what he did is what should also even emulate us who are actually growing now as the youth, as the future leaders. We need to emulate from these leaders what they did. And our former president, our late president, Mr. Lupia Banda, he played a very big role to put two people together, unite them together, because he saw that he saw something which was supposed to maybe to happen in the future. To say, if I actually neglect these people as an elderly person, let me bring these people together. And that's what he did. And God in heaven, he appreciated that. Right. And you remembered that.
All right.
Indeed.
Okay, let's get into the thick of things, even as we try to we look at the life of the former president, now late, Mr. Rupia Banda. Yes. Yet again, to the living. The president is gone, but we also need to speak to the living.
Yes, of course.
People are struggling with the issue of mental health. And the mental awareness, maybe in the past, this is not one of the issues that was really part of the household conversation. But with recent times, we've discovered to say it's the issue that we really need to speak about. Maybe let's start from the basics, from a layman language. I'll ask a question that maybe has been asked several times. What is mental health? According to you as a therapist, what is mental health?
Mental health is a state of well-being where someone's feelings, emotions, and behavior is just okay. There's no problem. Then there's also mental health illness. So this is a condition where someone's feelings, behavior, and emotions are disturbed. And the way someone thinks is disturbed.
All right. So we get to discover to say the mental illness is when the way somebody behaves, thinks, and they are getting to do some things is disturbed and they are not doing the normal way. At what point do you get to discover that? At what point do you get to detect, to say, all right, maybe even as an individual, to say things are not okay, or maybe the other part could be your brother, the people that you stay around with, they get to discover to say things are not okay?
From 3 weeks going up, because the signs or the symptoms, they differ depending with an individual. Yeah, so mostly with depression or these mental health illnesses, it starts from 3 weeks going up. So if there is a persistent mood disorder, persistent low moods in someone, where someone stops focusing on the activities which they were doing, then we can say they are having a mental health illness.
What are the types? Is it only one type? Or what are some types of these illnesses or disorders do we have? When we talk about mental illness, is it just like a headache? Because when you have a headache, or even a headache has got different types. You've got a migraine, you've got, all those things. So when we talk about mental illness, what do we look at? Are there types, and what are these types?
All right, so there is anger. Anger is an emotion. It's just normal to feel angry at something. But when the anger is persistent, when someone fails to control anger within themselves, then it becomes a problem. Because if someone is someone's anger is escalating, so to say, someone will become aggressive, someone will become violent, then that's another type of a mental illness.
Right.
Then the other type is bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a brain disorder which makes someone to experience high or low moods. This minute they are sad, the next minute they're upset. They become so irritable. You don't know how to handle such kind of person because you don't know what makes them feel sad or hurt, so to say. Then the other thing is eating disorders.
Right.
Overeating. Sometimes people, they'll lose appetite. So that's also another type of a mental health disorder. Then another one is post-traumatic stress disorder. Past experiences, they can also make someone to have some mental health challenges. Then the other one is alcohol-related disorders, like those who abuse drugs or alcohol. Then the other type is depression. Depression is also a type of mental health, where someone's moods are disturbed, like I explained earlier on. Then the other thing is personality disorders. So personality disorder is a type of mental health where someone has unhealthy thinking and their behavior is not healthy. So there are quite a lot of them.
All right. I wasn't very comfortable when you talked about a disorder that has to do with appetite. I usually have problems with my appetite, so I got a little bit uncomfortable. But anyway, but I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. With these particular disorders that we have, how is the treatment or how is the stigma? Maybe because maybe some people fail to come out because there's stigma out there. What could be your comment
on the stigma?
Yes, are people maybe with some mental health problems stigmatized?
Yes, they are always stigmatized because society and its taboos towards these mental health illnesses, it has led to people not opening up. For example, the issue of suicide, so to say. If I'm having suicidal thoughts, then I try to open up to maybe my family member or including the church, I'll get stigmatized because of opening up. Then issues to do with maybe some body image, they're also stigmatized by people out there. No, that one doesn't look nice, the shape is not okay. Yeah, so there are quite a number of issues which many people face some stigma in the community.
All right, before I get to the pastor, maybe, what's the greatest way or the best way to deal with a disorder?
The best way is to see a physician. So when someone sees a physician, so a physician will determine if this person needs some form of therapy or if they need drug at that particular time. Because when it comes to these disorders, they're in stages, so to say. It starts as a simple thing, then it keeps on escalating. So certain disorders, they need some medication. A doctor prescribes some medicine for them.
Right.
Then the therapy part is also needed.
In my whole entire life, I've only had, I think, a friend, one female friend, very nice, very pretty, who's been had some series with the therapist. Because it's not very common when you mention to say I'm having my sessions with maybe because I'm having some problems. It's not very common. That's what I'm saying. In my whole entire life, I've only seen one friend who's had that problem. Maybe let me get to the pastor. Pastor, how is this issue being dealt with in the church?
The church, yeah.
Because people get into depression and the Bible, every time we go to the church, we were given hope and we're told to say, you don't need to worry. All you need to focus is heaven and on God, everything else will follow in. But how is it that, again, we're losing it out as Christians? And mostly, it's Christians who are getting into these depressions and these mental disorders. How is the church tackling these issues?
Indeed, the most important thing is to counsel such people. We to counsel them. Yeah, mainly yeah, we do counsel them, and most of them, they become difficult to open up because as a spiritual person, we cannot see everything. You need someone to open up, just like she said. If
Yes.
someone opens up and say, this is the situation I'm facing, and the like. And we've got people to counsel such people. We can get them, and we counsel them, and we pray for them. Because you cannot just pray for somebody without counseling.
Yes.
Because this is why, because sometimes people has to talk to. It's not prayer which can, heal somebody or which can remove something from somebody. Even just talking. You just talk to a person, and that person becomes healed. Maybe that person is having a certain cause, like a bereavement, and that person is in pain, thinking to say, I cannot lose this loved one I've lost.
Yeah.
This man used to take care of me and my children, and he's gone. He has died. Who's going to take care of me? So the only way is just maybe let me just get rid of my life. Such people, we bring them, closer to, to us as men of God, and talk to them, counsel them. And we have people with their mental disorder also. We need to love them. That stigmatization we have talked about. We don't, we put them closer to us, and so that they know that we are with them. Because the moment you just disconnect yourself as if you are not with them, this is why they misbehave. And at the end of the day, they will just maybe do a suicide thing. Again, when you become closer to us, when you bring them closer to us, we also trying to talk to them. In some ways they feel like talking to them. You talk to them according to the way they feel, not the way you feel. Sometimes they will run away. Like one time, one woman in the church started shouting and said, started even insulting the church, because we understand them. And they said, okay, fine. We just got that person and talked to them nicely. I said, oh, okay. And she stopped doing what she was doing. So now if you, again, you feel bad about it. When you feel like that woman was behaving in the church, feel bad about it and say, maybe you insult that person, maybe you do wrong things to that particular person. And then you chase that person from doing a wrong thing. That's why, all in all, it's love, agape love. That's what we portray in the church.
All right. Now, I also maybe try to provoke you a bit, bring in this situation, Pastor.
Yes.
There are so many, I don't know which congregation exactly you're coming from, but there's so many words out there where people are saying, well, at that church, I was not really stigmatized, but yes, I can, due to lack of a better term, stigmatized because I'm not as holy as some people. And even at a point where I'm going through stuff, I go to church and people are pointing fingers at me and people are talking behind me. And at church, you feel uncomfortable and you probably stop going to church, get into depression. How is also the situation in the churches? Are people killing people within the church?
Oh, praise God. Thank you very much for that important question you have asked. Of course, in the church where we are, it's not everyone who are actually in the same level in Christianity. We differ. There are some certain people maybe have just given their lives to God, a few weeks ago, and they come in the church. That behavior of the world behavior is not. They're still having that behavior. So those are the people actually comes to bring destruction in the church. That's why it's important that when you are saved, you also become closer to the man of God, not to the members also. You just become closer to the man of God, so that whenever you have got a situation, you give the man of God, rather than the church, the members. You give that information to the man of God, and the man of God will be there to help you as a child of God.
All right.
Yes.
So now, as we continue with the ways in how to help out, especially patients with the mental disorder. Let me talk about, I'm sure you saw that clip, one of our reporters did a story of how there is not so many health facilities where you can simply go to a clinic and find maybe a therapist or be attended to because of your disorder. You probably need to be referred to what and what and what. How's the situation? How are the facilities offering these particular services?
What it is that many people, they don't know that at government institutions they offer those services.
Right.
Mostly they think that at the hospital they only offer HIV counseling and GBV counseling, but that's not it. Yeah. So as our job as therapists, we need to do more mobilization and more sensitization to these communities so that they know that at government hospitals, we have counseling departments where people with these disorders can be coming to receiving help. So at the government institution, we have a youth-friendly space, because for some youths, it's very difficult to open up to someone who is old. So they'll tend to open up to someone who is young. For example, when they look at me, then I'm able to, talking to them, they'll be more comfortable, to talking to me. So when they come at the hospitals, there is a just space meant for the youths only, where they can be able to open up with the challenges that they're having. Then we also have different departments where they can also open up. Then with me personally, I also have Heart and Soul Transformation Therapy Center.
All right.
Yes. So this is a center that we are forming, though I would need more partners to help me through it. Yeah. So as Heart and Soul Transformation Therapy Center, I said it some time back. I've been advocating on social media, and then I've also been giving online therapy to those people who need help. Even those ones who want to meet me in person, I've been there to helping them. Then aside from the hospitals, there's also Chainama Hospital, where people with, there are those disorders, which needs maybe someone to be rehabilitated, where they can also be receiving help from that side.
Because every time you hear the word Chainama, you be perceived to be someone who's mad, and people usually use this word. If you do something very bizarre, they'll tell you, I think you're a Chainama case, you. Yes. I'm sure with Heart and Soul Transformation Therapy, that's a very good initiative, but we see less of these initiatives. Maybe to get on with this, so you are saying anyone can just simply walk to any clinic or government facility, because I know in private facilities these things are there, but they come with a cost. But you're saying with every government health facility, there is always a department to deal with such.
Yes. At any government clinic, there is a counseling department. So if one comes at that particular department, if they've seen that they can't be able to handle such kind of issue, no wonder we do referral. Like these health posts, maybe if they can't manage, no wonder they'll refer maybe to UTH, these big hospitals, but the help is always there. Then about Chainama, Chainama, there's this stigma that is always there about it. Yeah. So this is the type of mentality, so to say, that we need to change within people. Yeah. So we need to talk to the youths. We need to talk to the Zambian people to say Chainama is not as they take it to be. That's just a friendly space to be there. Yeah. So if someone is having a problem, they can visit that place. It's not that people always go there. They're always they're insane, so to say.
That's what most people think out there.
Even if you don't have a problem, you can visit Chainama clinic or hospital, so to say. You can visit Chainama Hospital, you can visit any government clinic or any private clinic of your choice, just to go and even greet the doctors, even just greeting those nurses. It helps with someone's mental health. Just seeing that blue uniform, no wonder I'm even putting on this. When someone just sees this, it gives them more hope.
Yeah, when I was very young, I used to be scared of a nurse, or even now, even the RDT. I'm not a fan of that. Nothing. I'm not a fan of that. Maybe if we look at the types of these disorders that we have, do they come with specific ways to heal them, or is general treatment?
The treatment is not general. You may find that, let's say maybe one person is having PSTD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or maybe depression. The things that trigger this person, or maybe let's say there are 5 of them, they'll be all different.
Right.
The signs that they'll portray, they'll all be different. And how they'll be relating to life, it will all be different. So we treat each person with uniqueness. Each person is unique, and the best treatment that we give to that person, it will be different from these other ones. Yeah, so what will determine the treatment is when we ask psychological assessment questions. Yeah, so these psychological assessment questions we target the mind, because we believe that when someone is depressed, when someone is having mood disorders, when someone is having PSD, something has happened to the mind and the feelings of someone which are affecting the behavior. So if these three can be well coordinated, the feelings of someone, the mind, and the behavior, then we are going to help this person. Now, what do we do? After asking psychological assessment questions, what triggered you for you to become like this, for you to become depressed? Someone will be able to open up. Since the time when you got depressed, what are some of the activities that you've stopped doing? A client will be able to tell us. And then from that, that's where now we get to pick the treatment from. And then once we do that, so if someone has been depressed for quite a long time, they get to lose themselves. They're not part of this world, so to say. They don't know who they are because they lose their self-esteem, they lose their self-confidence. As a result, we teach them self-awareness. So self-awareness is the key to every treatment. Before we begin treatment, we teach someone self-awareness so that they get to know themselves better, they get to know their emotions, their feelings, they know the things that trigger them, so that even as we begin therapy, they'll know if I do this, it will take me back to this disorder that I had. Then the other thing that we teach the mindfulness.
Yes.
Mindfulness is just about connecting the mind to the body. As a client, they need to stay in the moment, because when they think much about the past, they'll be stuck into that depression. Then again, when someone thinks too much about the future, it will be making them feel more anxious, and the depression will continue. So as a therapist and a client, will bring them close to their body, just staying at that particular moment. What is it that is happening? We'll teach them not to be suppressing feelings. For example, if something triggers them, they need to be facing that just there and then, being in the moment. So by being in the moment, there are some skills that we teach them, like the breathing techniques. We also use different anchors, like the 5 senses, sense of sight, sense of touch, sense of sound. So those senses, they're just there to bring them to the moment, so that if the urge maybe to fight someone comes, someone can be able to redirect that urge into something that they're seeing. For example, what's this? This is this. So when channeling that, mindset into something else, it's going to make them to stop thinking about that depression. As a result, someone will be helped. Then when it comes to mindfulness, we are trying to help someone with their emotions or their feelings. And then after that, we'll target the mind by using cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
So by cognitive, we are targeting the mind.
The mind.
What is it that this person always think about? We'll target the self-messages that someone usually talks about. So what kind of messages do you tell your mind? So when we give therapy to this person about the cognitive part, it will make their mind to be healthy, meaning that we are making someone's mental health more healthy. And at last, now we'll focus much on the behavior. So when the feelings of someone are well coordinated and their thinking capacity, meaning that even the behavior that they're going to portray in the community, it will be more friendly and more calm.
All right. You've explained very well, starting with the mind, the behavior that now they're going to portray. Let me also, maybe we could trickle it down to depression, because there are so many deaths or suicides that have been aligned to depression of what people are going through. There's so many different reasons that are saying people, it could be some disappointments in relationships, marriages. Yes, it could be some financial capacity or financial stability. So there's just so many things that have been aligned to depressions. And maybe are there any disorders that lead to suicide?
Exactly. Yeah, so issues to do with past experiences like post-traumatic stress disorder, past experiences like child abuse, child neglect. So all these, they are triggers to someone being suicidal or
All
getting
right.
depressed, then as it escalates, someone will develop some suicidal thoughts. And then when we look at most of these mental health illnesses, anything that disturbs the mind, it puts someone at risk of being suicidal if it's not controlled. So most of these, let me just say, all mental health illnesses, if not well handled, they can lead someone to having suicidal thoughts or
Not to cut you short, but most of the people that have committed suicide, or some of the people that have committed suicide, you find that they usually put up something. Maybe it could be on social media, it could be on Facebook. They write up a post. Could be on Twitter. They tweet something. Could be on WhatsApp status. They just put up a status relating to something, and you find that people will see that and not pay attention. A few hours after they die, then will have screenshots to say, actually, this person an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 before they died, here is what they posted on their status or whatever it is. But what are some of the signs of suicidals or suicide? What are some of the signs? Because sometimes people tend to say, maybe he's trying to grab attention from people. He's not even trying to commit suicide. Sometimes we don't take them seriously, of which they might be battling with some serious battles that really they are suicidal, but we, the people around, won't take them seriously. What are the major signs that we can be able to tell to say, oh, wow, this could be serious?
All right. So what people need to know out there is that people with suicidal thoughts or people with depression, these people, they want to live, but they don't really want to die. That's what they need to know.
All right.
Maybe they're thinking, I need to die, but they also want to live. Yeah. So when it comes to people, if someone opens up to you to say, I'm not feeling okay, maybe I'm having this, we shouldn't stigmatize them. There's messages that we tell them, they're supposed to be filled with love. Mostly what causes these people to killing themselves is they don't feel heard or listened to. If I open up, I'll be a laughing stock. We've seen this on Facebook. Sometimes even before someone posts that to say, I'm going to kill myself with them, someone will start posting status, guys, I'm feeling sad. Maybe even the DP, they'll put a DP which portrays some darkness, so to say. And then we'll say the same thing, then we won't comment anything. For some people, they'll even screenshot, and then they'll even say, but what's wrong with this person? If you want, just kill yourself. So those things, they can trigger someone to doing it. So the signs are always there. One, where someone, if you notice to say someone has been overthinking for a long period of time, if someone stops isolating with friends, if someone loses interest in activities, if someone gets irritated by almost everything, then you need to notice those signs. So the signs, they are quite a lot. It depends with an individual. So it's a matter of self-awareness, getting to know all these signs. So what people can do out there is that sometimes it's not really about, following the therapist. They can also be doing some research they can be Googling on, on internet. Okay, what are some of the signs? Because if I can say these are the signs, what if maybe that person that they're with, they won't show those signs? Then they won't focus much on them. Yeah. But if they can get more knowledge and more awareness on these illnesses, their signs, their triggers, meaning that it's going to help these people to know if maybe one of their friends or one of their family members is having the signs of killing themselves.
We'll keep sharing notes on hearing from a professional point of view and as well from the church point of view, because these are members in church that also are suffering from these problems, Pastor. We've heard the types and how the remedies and how these can be dealt with. Maybe we could also hear from, as a clergy, how do we get to identify, to say people really are going through stuff, and the issue of depression? How do we do we go extra mile apart from maybe praying for them? How do we get to deal with these issues?
Of course, before actually you pray for them, we discover something from them, because there are others whereby they will become moody, they won't be talking to people at church. Some of them, they'll become, sarcastic, I would maybe use that word. Some of them, maybe they'll stay away from church. Yeah. Some of them, they will stay away from church when you call them. They won't even answer you nicely. Able to, detect, to say, these people, they have gone through something. And we call them for counseling, before prayer, counseling. Then after we counsel them, then we pray for them. Because, this, in a spiritual way, they are their spirit, actually. These are evil spirits. Sometimes, the Bible says that we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities
of
this world. Yes, of this world. So meaning in the spiritual realm, there are principalities, meaning they are looking for someone to devour. Meaning, if you've got a situation in your life, that issue which you have, it will enter in you. When it enters you, that demon now of suicide will come in you, and will come and attack you. So that's why we take these people under what we call deliverance session, where we pray for them, we deliver this spirit. Sometimes, the spirit of suicide, it also comes in the family. You know that it also comes in the family. You find that the person, when he commits suicide, that even my uncle did the same, or even my brother also did the same. It becomes a generational spirit.
Right.
Yes. So we handle such things through deliverance. We pray for them and we cast that spirit from them, and they becomes free.
All right.
Indeed.
Okay, so you're still watching the lunchtime show on Muvi TV, and on our menu this afternoon we do have the mental health awareness. This is quite a very, very conversation that needs to be amplified in homes, in societies, on the markets, in the public transport. These are conversations that we need to keep on having, because really issues of depression, suicides is what's killing the people. And with recent times, we've seen a lot. Nearly a day never passes without these cases, and the media is tired of reporting this, because yet again, if the more you report something, it's like you're promoting it. But yet again, we still need to counsel people. What can we do to curtail this vice? Is it only prayers, or we also look at from the professional point of view? So if you also want to be a part of this program, we have in studio the therapist here and also the pastor. Please, if you have a comment, you have a question, the number 0764250055. As we go along the program, we'll be able to accommodate you to offer that comment or that question, so that we could help to answer those questions that you have. Now, getting to you, therapist Mwengwe. Is the government or is the investment in this particular health problem very much or sufficient? If we look at malaria, you've seen how malaria is fought even at a continental level in Africa. There's free, sometimes free medicines, free spraying, free mosquito nets. So this is something that is fought with concerted efforts. If you look at COVID-19, we can't even mention the pandemic. We've received so much help from the government, from across the continent, from the UN. But with this particular issue, how is the government? Is there much enough investment in this particular health problem?
The investment is not there. No wonder we are having such kind of issues. When you look at how the government has been advertising, about HIV, people receiving, ARVs, even how they do it when it comes to, promoting some condoms, adverts on social media, including on these
in the media, yes,
in the media, yeah. But you never see an advert about mental health. I've never seen any. We can have a program like this one, but just having an advert which can be at least raising awareness to the people out there is not there. So I feel the government, should come on board. So I, for one, I've carried this mental health campaign. I said some time back, though these days it has become more of an issue.
Yes.
Yeah. So if there can be people out there, or even the government, if they can come on board, to helping me and my team, to advocating for these issues, it will definitely help so that we can raise more awareness. And when it comes to raising more awareness, we need to have target groups.
Yes.
Yes. So when it comes to the target groups, we need to target the young people, the old, and the old age, because issues to do with mental health, they affect everyone.
Yes.
They affect the entire nation. So the government needs to come on board. Then when it comes to mobilizing people, we need also to have a target. If we can do it on the media, if they can give us a platform, maybe a show where we can be advocating for this, that would definitely help. But it's not everyone, again, who is having a television. So we can do it on radio shows. We can be going around the communities. We can also make up some bystanders in these roads, people giving some flyers to people traveling to those people walking. So we can have different ways of mobilizing people. It's not always on media. So if we can come up with a very strong team, people with the same vision of advocating for mental health, and the government, being there for us, then it will definitely help. And if we can talk about it like COVID-19 has been talked about, we are going to beat these disorders. And again, what it is that if according to my therapy center vision, I'm saying that at least by 2026, people, they need to be aware of these mental health disorders.
Isn't that too short?
It is too short, but at least by 2026, people,
Yes.
they're supposed to be aware that, okay, there's this bipolar, there's this eating disorders, so that as we reach somewhere 2040, we need to have at least 0 deaths resulting from these mental health illnesses. Because if we can have people, the young ones dying by these mental health illnesses, it raises a concern, because us young ones, us the youths, we are the future leaders. Now, if we can be losing the young ones due to depression, due to mental health disorders, it is a problem. So the government and the youths, we need to team up to raising more awareness, so that come 2040, at least we should have 0 deaths resulting from mental health illnesses, because at that time, we have created more awareness, and people, they know where to find help. The stigma is ended. And including in the same thing, the government, they also need to ban, memers, because I believe that most of the memers who are on social media, they care nothing about people. Many memers, there are people who are having these mental health illnesses. You find that a memer is having some personality disorders. They care nothing about what you feel. No wonder you see that if someone opens up on media, they get stigmatized. People start sharing or start making silly comments about such kind of things. Yeah. So certain memes, they are not okay for the mental health. So the government need to see to it that they ban these people, because it's not just in these communities. Even social media has also contributed to people dying by suicide. And also what I can encourage people who are living with these mental health illnesses is that when it comes to the media, since you've seen that they care nothing about your emotions, they need at least to unfollow such kind of accounts, because there are some pages on media, which are full of, memes only. Yeah. So they can try to unfollow and follow those pages which are good for their mental health. Then that's going to help.
All right. I know we're going to talk. I would love you to dwell much on social media, because social media is very, very toxic, if you ask me. Social media is very toxic. In a snap, it can just make you happy, and in a snap, in a twinkling of an eye, it can just ruin your day or your week. Exactly. Maybe, Pastor, there is this old adage which says prevention is better than cure. I want to ask you, from a clergy point of view, what are some of the deliberate policies that you make to make sure people do not get in these disorders or depression? I know most churches now, what we are here of is just the sowing in, so that when you go to money, they bless you with having money. In fact, when in fact you're dealing with these problems, are there some deliberate policies or seminars in churches to talk about these issues, to talk to the youth, to talk to the people? What are some of the things that you do in order to avoid this?
Oh yes, of course. Just like you mentioned about the youth, we have programs for the youth, trying to sensitize them. Mostly, especially these vices are coming from the youth.
Yes.
Yeah, we have some meetings. We bring them closer so that we talk to them. We teach them, how they should grow, spiritually. Because the youth, they want to experience anything, they want to experience with drugs, want to experience with sexual, they like to experience in so many things, so it's all those kind of things will bring them in a different way. So as well as these seminars, when we call them, we call seminars for women as well, trying to talk about this things which we're supposed to talk about, trying to encourage them so that they grow spiritually as well as women. All categories we have seminars. So these in seminars, that's why we talk about these things, so that they can grow spiritually and protect them from these vices. Indeed.
All right. So I said we need to talk about a little bit on social media. And earlier on said social media is very toxic. But yet again, it's sometimes when you are feeling low, when you get to social media, it just lightens up, because social media is a global community. It's a global community. You may just be in your house. You'd obviously be seeing what's happening in the US, in the UK, what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening in Lusaka, if you're in the Copper Belt, what's happening in Northern Province. You could clearly be able to see. So it's a global village, global community that we have when you're just in your bedroom. But how do you just balance? Because again, that's a problem which people face, to say, should I stay on social media? Should I go out? Because sometimes it gives you some happiness and sometimes it gives you. So how do you just balance?
All right. So what people need is self-awareness. When you're aware of yourself, when you're aware about social media, if people can be aware to say on social media there can be things that they can build me, I can do business on social media and be able to make money. If I can find such toxic people on social media and the ways in which someone can be able to avoid such kind of issues, that would definitely help. So the first thing that someone needs to do is to having more awareness. There's nothing wrong with being on social media,
right.
No, but following accounts which may put your mental health at risk, that's a problem. There are very educative things that someone can be able to learn on social media. That with some people, if I believe each and every person, they know themselves well. Sometimes even not to say, me, I'm having a low mood and this is my trigger, because they are having self-awareness. So such kind of people, they need to stay away from such kind of let me say media platforms.
All right. And so, with the works that you are currently having, what has been most of the challenges that you've been facing in this awareness, in this campaign? What has been the greatest challenge?
The greatest challenge is the challenge of having resources.
Okay.
In the platform where I can be able to reach a great mass. Because I've just been advocating from 2019 on my Facebook account.
Right.
Then looking at my account, I'm just having 5,000 people. Yeah. Then when you compare 5,000 to the population of Zambia, that's just a small number. So if I can be given a platform where I can be able to reach a number of people, even on the background, not just on media, but where I can target the entire population of Zambia, that is definitely going to help. Then the other challenge that I'm having is, like my age. people mostly they think maybe she's young, what can you tell us? Maybe you haven't gone through such. So that has been a challenge. But one thing that has always been helping me is I'm always focused on what I'm doing. And I've also been a victim of mental health, more especially depression. I've been a victim of that for 3 good years, from 2015 up to 2017, somewhere there. So I know what it feels like, to be depressed. So no wonder I said, no, I'm going to help out the people out there, my fellow youths and everyone, so that, we shouldn't be having premature deaths in people with such kind of problems.
All right. So, which stakeholders have you worked with so far? I know you've mentioned of the challenge of finances and the investment. Could you help us with which stakeholders you've worked with so far, and how can other stakeholders come on board?
Thank you very much. So, since I said this, alone, then I kept on posting on social media. So, Health Trace Network, they noticed me to say, okay, if we can have this young person doing this, meaning that we can try to build her up so that she can become a role model to others. Because if you look at in Zambia, you will never find, counselors or psychotherapists, advocating for such kind of issues. It's only these big counselors, mostly like marriage counselors, who are always on media.
Yes.
Mental health is less talked about. So they said, if at your age you've been advocating for this, so we'll try by all means to help you out. Yeah. So they started helping me out. That was last year October,
Right.
somewhere August, October. Then they told me, okay, just write a proposal. Yeah. So I was able to write that. And then they were really impressed with the vision that I'm carrying. Yeah. So they've been providing some mentorship for me. And then they said, okay, since we've reached at this stage, we need to set up a therapy center. Yeah. So the proposed site is Kamala South, like Kawata constituents. But my project states that we are targeting all the 116 districts of Zambia because we don't want to leave anyone behind. Yes. So they've been there. Then looking at that NGO, they've been providing some mentorship, but I also need some more people to partner with me. Yeah. Then with me here, my partner, Mr. Mulenga, I also explained to him about what I do. Then he said, okay, I'll be your partner. Yeah. So what I need some people to partner up with me so that we can take this thing, to the next level. So that come 2040, we need to have a different Zambia. Because my vision clearly states that we want to start mental health, as in laying a foundation in these young ones. Because if we look at the people of Zambia these days, they are the people who are living with mental health challenges.
Yes.
So if we can target the Minister of Education so that if these young ones, as they are growing, early childhood, we introduce mental health topics into them, more like putting it as a subject or some form of lessons, so to say, meaning that as they grow up, we are going to raise, people with good mental health because they know about the triggers, they know how to escape such kind of problems. Yeah, unlike how it is these days. So that's what my proposal states.
All right. So just a reminder, if you want to be a part of this program, the number is open. The phone lines are very much open. 0764 250055. Remember, we earlier on started with paying our tributes and also trying to look at the life of the former Fourth Republican president, now late, Mr. Rupia Bozani Banda, who died last week on Friday, 11th March, and will be put to rest on Friday, 18th March 2022. Please hit us with that number and give us what you think. We get to have our first phone call for this afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Keith.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay. This is Voice of Kafue.
Voice of Kafue, good to have you this afternoon. How's Kafue this afternoon?
It's just hot, my brother.
Yeah, it's hot. Equally here.
Yeah, Confidence Mwenga, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Yeah, we know each other. We'll talk when we are off that. Good program indeed.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, all I just want is to encourage her. Seems to be really focused. I'm really impressed on how she's explaining on that subject. Keep it up. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Voice of Kafiwe. All right, that's a call that we got from our Voice of Kafiwe, and we appreciate. All right, we appreciate so much. To you, the viewers out there, if you also want to be a part of this program this afternoon, the number is to call is 0764250055. Like earlier on said, you could also use this platform to pay your condolences, your tribute to the late former Republican President, Dr. Rupia Bozani Banda, who will be put to rest on Friday. Yeah, you could help us share with us your memories. I know there are so many young people that had an opportunity to meet him, and they're sharing those memories with the former Republican president. And also, a lot of people have defined him as a jovial man with his Nsenga phrases, and you know, a lot of things that have gone viral. And one of those is the incidences where he was having a press briefing at State House. Then the monkey tried to urinate it on him, and you know, it's one of those famous videos, social, and people are just going through some memories of the former Republican president. If you do also have that as a youth, also, we're just from celebrating last week the International Youth Day. We're also asking you to say, what can we learn from these old folks, like the late and also the living, like Vernon Mwanga, and the past icons? What can we learn to build also our legacies as the youth? We need to know these things, and it's for this reason that we've also coupled it with the issue of mental health awareness. So, because we need the youth who are now leaders, we are taught to say the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. But the time for the youth to take up the mantle has come, and we need the youth in good health, physical-wise, mental-wise, and in every other aspect of life. We need the youth to be in good shape and in good health. It's for this reason that this afternoon also we've taken time to discuss or talk about the issue of mental illness, which is someone's been a greatest challenge of late to the country, Zambia, and also probably even across. You could be viewing us on Facebook across the borders of Zambia. We very much so appreciate your viewership. If you also have a comment, if you cannot call us, you could post your comment or your views and generally what you feel like on Facebook that we're coming to you via our social media handle, Ask Muvi TV. Otherwise, we're still going on with this, our lunchtime show. And please be a partaker of the menu that we have this afternoon. Also, getting back to you, Mwengwe, if we talk about the government coming in, how exactly, I know you've talked about how the awareness can be increased by probably getting into these communities and also adverts. I'll tell you what, we as Muvi TV will also be partners because we want this message to go out there. These such platforms of the updates, we need our viewers out there to be in good health, good mental health. The state of their mental state should be on point, should be okay. Yeah. Let me try to pick up this other phone call as we keep on. Good afternoon. Hello? Hello? Yes, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, sir. Rev?
This is Ricardo Emmanuel calling from Mufumbwe.
All right. Good to have you all the way from Mufumbwe, Northwestern Province. Sir, you okay?
Yes. We are fine, sir.
Great. Great. Please, sir, you may go ahead with your comment.
Exactly. My comment is going to the young lady. I just wanted to actually recommend that she actually just have to continue with the same program.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people I know, we are of interest in the same topic, because just like you have been saying, you as journalists, you have been reporting about these cases for a long time now.
Yes.
But till the time as youth, we need to step our foot down and make sure that this rise is calmed down.
Yes.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. We appreciate your calls that are coming through. And also, if you're watching us and still tuned in, this is the Lunchtime Show, and we're discussing issues of mental health awareness. If you want to also be a part of this program, simply dial the number 0764 250055. Before that call, I wanted to pose this question to you, to say, how does the government comes in? I know you mentioned earlier that of how we can increase the awareness programs in the communities, but exactly how does the government, the Ministry of Health, come in on how would you want it to be modeled?
All right, thank you very much. So on that one, we would need resources, like we need some books or some flyers, so to say. So we need to come up with books which talk about mental health illnesses, so that we can, in short, let me say handouts,
Yes.
that will be giving to people out there. And then we also need some t-shirts, t-shirts, mental health, so that we put these mental health messages on those t-shirts. Because if we're just walking down the road, maybe we're just wearing maybe different clothes, people won't be able to know the type of message that we are carrying. So if we can come up with the same uniform that we are putting on in carrying out this, in passing this message, it will definitely going to help. Then again, when it comes to mobilization, it will need some form of transportation.
Right.
Which group are we targeting? Where are we going? So as we are going to that place, we'll need some form of transportation. Then even them, they also need to be there to provide some guidance, to us. So looking at me, I'm just a young person, then I'm so passionate about this. Yeah. So if they can come on board and provide some good mentorship, that would definitely help.
All right. Pastor, I believe you're a musician.
Indeed.
And with music, I believe music is a very, very powerful tool that is used to convey a message. Just last week, when we were having the National Youth Endeavor, prior to the International Youth Day at Mlungush International Conference, at the official opening when I was there, I saw some artists come together like Oga Family and should have been Kavman and a few other artists came together and they did a song for the mental health awareness. Have you tried to, how are the musicians taking up this issue? It could be not just as a gospel musician, but musician in general.
Oh, yes.
How are we trying to also play our part in making people aware of this issue?
Of course. Not much, but I'm sure because of this information, which has really, we need to do that.
Yes.
We just have to do that, and appreciate, because I appreciate her because she found me as a musician, and she saw what I was doing and said, Mr. Mlenga, this is what I'm doing, and I loved it. I said, wow, this is good, this is great. I need to support it. This is what actually I'm supporting her. Of course, we need to start composing songs which will be talking about mental health awareness and suicide, of course, and so that you can teach to the public. Very soon, I'm sure you'll see the song soon.
It's about time. It's about time. I'm saying this. I'm also
Indeed.
a culprit.
Indeed.
I've never composed any song, or I've never sang any song about mental health awareness, and I'm a culprit, and I feel guilty about that.
Indeed.
We need to do better.
Indeed.
We need to do better. So even as we're getting to almost, we're almost at the tail end of our program. Now, what are some of the things that we urgently need to look at? Now, even as we're trying to engage in the government and other stakeholders, what are some of the things that you need to look at? And the other question is, who should come on board? Is it just therapists or health practitioners, or who exactly should be join the bandwagon? Who?
Right, thank you very much. So issues to do with mental health, they affect everyone, people in the government, they affect doctors, they affect businessmen. So everyone should come on board, because this is not just a battle for the Minister of Health or for the health professionals. It's a battle for all. So as a nation, everyone can become a partner, yes, in fighting these illnesses.
And with the heart and soul transformation
Therapy.
therapy, how can people access it? And if you have, do you already have some physical address, or if you do not, how can they contact you? It could be on WhatsApp or phone call or on social media. What are your handles? How can just people get in contact with you?
On Facebook, I have a page, Heart and Soul Transformational Therapy Center. Heart and Soul Transformational Therapy Center. Then they can also call me or WhatsApp me on 0964 94 1590. 0964 94 1590. And then about the center, I just do most of my sessions online. Then if someone agrees that they want a physical meeting, I arrange a place, because I haven't yet found a place where I can put up my center. So no wonder I'm saying that if there's anyone out there who would want to help me, I would really appreciate, so that we set up this thing. Then if people want to come in person, they can be coming. At least they can have where to be coming to.
How's been your response? Share with us. How's been your response? The response rather from the people that you've shared, that you've tried to go through the therapy with, that you've offered the therapy to, afterwards or even during the therapy. How is it?
The response has been positive. You'll find that, for example, I had a client that was last year. Yeah, he's of my age. And then he said that he's became depressed at the age of 9 when his parent died.
9 years.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Wow.
he is depressed. Then through doing some psychological assessment, I came to discover that he wasn't just having depression, but there was some form of post-traumatic disorder.
Right.
There was also loss of esteem, So if, when talking to him, I first targeted, his emotions or feelings. I first managed to control them, because he had that age of committing suicide, and at some point he said that he once attempted to doing it. Yeah. So through giving him some therapy at this particular time, sometimes I'll just receive a message, Coveness, I love you. That, why do you love me? He said, no, you really helped me, because I was thinking of killing myself, but I'm actually seeing more hope. Even just by texting you, seeing your pictures, it gives me more hope. Then apart from that, I've also, it's not just young ones, even big people, they've been coming to me. Those ones who are married with some form of addictions, like maybe masturbation,
Yes.
those kind of issues, they've been approaching me. Yeah, so they always appreciate. Then for some people, you find that maybe I'll set a goal to say, okay, we'll try to work within these 3 months.
Yes.
We'll see how it goes. Just talking to someone, for days, someone will say, no, me, I'm very fine. I think for that thing, it can, let me just focus on my other things. Like there was one I talked to, like 2 days. He was having a breakup, relationship problems, and then he could cry. During the session, that first session that I had with him.
Vamalav, you can die.
Yes, he cried a lot. They said that no, because of this, he said smoking, he said drinking alcohol. But just after talking to him, I raised more hope in this person. Then, because I always tell my clients to say, hope has no limits. And when you try to bring in this to clients, it gives them more hope. I always give an example, of a mountain. When it comes to hope, it's more like a mountain. A mountain, when you look at it, it's very huge, it's very big. If you are told to say, start removing the stones from that mountain one by one, it's something very hard, something that you can't imagine of yourself doing. But when you start removing everything at a go, it becomes a burden on you, because you are going to use more energy, and it will make you feel tired. But if you can start removing those stones little by little, meaning that you are going to have the whole mountain removed. You won't even know like how it happened. You just find that the mountain has been moved. So same applies to healing. You can have all these illnesses, all these disorders, but when you come for therapy, we'll try to give you more hope. We'll tell you that hope has no limits, because we believe that through being depressed, many people, they have lost hope. They believe nothing in this world. So we'll try to bring them back to reality. So when we give them hope, we'll try to take away their problems little by little, solving their emotions, getting to solve the way they think, the way they deal with their issues. So that as we reach to their behavior, how they're perceiving this environment, since it's a process, even the treatment at that particular time, it will be more perfect, because we've tried to remove problems at a go.
All right. Well, and this is where we need to say our goodbyes. Pastor and Mwangwe, I would love to thank you so very much for coming through to have this conversation. We just hope we can be having this conversation time to time so that people can be made aware of these issues.
Indeed. Thank you very much for having us.
All right. I'm greatly humbled. All right. So in studio, I had a therapist, Covenus Mwangwe, and also Pastor Ignatius Mulenga, who helped me just to discuss the issue of mental health. From a clergy perspective, he's given us some hope and some counsel. And also from a professional point of view, it's like when you're not well, when you see people around you are not okay, please, it is your duty to make sure that you help them through some therapy. And if you think you're not okay, the public health services are very, very much open. You could simply walk in there and have some therapy, have some counsel. It's not like you're mad, because these things, if they get prolonged, they're the things that are getting to so much problems with that. So it's about time we did the very best thing. And to the viewers out there, we would like to thank you so very much for your viewership. And we're back tomorrow. Let me leave you with this verse. I'm not a pastor, I'm not an evangelist, but I just feel that I can leave you with this verse. Joshua chapter 1 verse 6. Be strong and courageous.
Hallelujah.
Be strong and courageous. Everything else will be better, and everything else will fall in place. With the Lunchtime Show, this has been Keith Wemba. We're back tomorrow, same time. Thank you so much for watching. Good afternoon and God bless.
Istana ya Afrika ya kupende chalo akamwana kanono nomsepela kuikala chapamo kuribe kumunzi kuribe mutauni kumatero aliyenze afunika.
The Zambia Statistics Agency will this year conduct the census